but you actually brought it up. But I think and you mentioned also kind of what I call the John Henry syndrome. We're always competing against the machines, basically, and working ourselves to death just to put ourselves in a position to be seen and heard and receive the support we deserve. And I'm not talking about, emotional support here. In this case, I'm talking about basic resources, responding to the extent that there's ever been a meritocracy. When you've got organizations, and I'll even use us as an example, it's frustrating to us at social change when we can pass 23 laws and help thousands of people and serve 250,000 pounds of food during COVID, and we're still being offered 1,000 or 5,000 from these philanthropy organizations that are giving 150,000 to white organizations doing far less with far more resources. So as we talked about the micro stuff, which is important, but I think I would love for you, Dr. Daniels, to kind of segue a bit into some of the macro stuff and just the abject discrimination and wrongful denial of resources that are merited and deserved, because it's so much harder for us to get the returns that we need in our communities and beyond.
Thank you so much, Todd. That's a great question. And man, you just followed my spirit, because I definitely wanted to touch on that. Alan and Lorenzo did good with the therapy piece, but I really want to touch on that. I'm so happy that you asked that question. Personal example, right? Before my wife and I could get our mortgage for our home, my credit was checked 7 times.
Damn.
My bank account was checked 7 times. Does this gentleman really have this amount of money in the account, right, for that down payment? Is his credit score really that good? Checking to see if the amount would all of a sudden, if the amount in the bank account would automatically just disappear, and if my credit score would automatically decrease substantially after the 6th time they check it, right? I'd like to compare that to this notion of philanthropy, right? And I want to speak specifically to the funders on the call, or individuals who have access to excess resources, right? As a Black man, and I think we all can agree on this call, as a Black male leader or Black female leader or person of other color, we deserve to be trusted. See, the reality is that I have to work just as hard for you to trust me with your money than someone who is white. That's the reality of the situation, and we have to call a spade, right? I think one of the issues that's connected to that is that we have to make sure that we have to be close to perfect just to even be trusted to get a substantial amount of money, right? Why is it that I have to make sure that even though I didn't go to school for business, that everything has to be close to perfect across the board, right? Without the specific coaching. I've seen organizations in my community who've been around for over 20 years who don't have half the budgets of individuals, white individuals who come into my community, create these apps and new ideas, who went to MIT or Harvard, their budgets, right? Their budgets are substantially lower, although the results are higher for the organizations that have been around the longest. The only difference that comes to mind for me is the color of their skin, right? Back to this notion of code switching, right? I have to appease, I have to smile all the time, I have to shake hands, I have to do follow-up emails, I have to make sure that I thank you immensely, even when you don't respond to my calls. That gets tiresome. I'm tired of calling you, don't call me back. I'm tired of sending emails. I'm tired of sending emails when you ain't emailing me back, right?
Right.
We're doing the work. The results show. Our community members are speaking about the results. Why is it that I have to go the extra miles? I know philanthropy people, and I know individuals who run organizations who don't look like me, who know individuals who gave them $1 million, although the results have not been there, because the concept has been proven to be effective based on the research. Well, I can't bring a concept to you as a Black leader. I got to show you some results, because you ain't gonna follow me just on concepts. That doesn't work for right? So I think we have to be honest across the board. When we're thinking about what is it that Black men deserve or Black leaders deserve, we deserve a fair shot, right? Yes, we can produce results. Yes, we know what we're doing, but we know what we're doing without the coaching, without the degrees. Most of us, I know many Black leaders who are doing excellent work who doesn't have the necessary degrees that a lot of us have on this call, right? But they deserve to be funded the same way that individuals who have degrees. And us Black individuals with degrees or not degrees, we deserve to be the same, funded the same as our white counterparts with proven concepts that haven't even been proven yet, but research proven, but not necessarily in the community. And I think as funders, when you look at your portfolio, you see, okay, is a breakdown of where my funding is going mainly geared towards white leaders as opposed to Black leaders? Is there equal distribution across the board, right? What is it that I'm investing in, right? I think we deserve to be trusted, but we also deserve a chance. I know many leaders that if you gave them the coaching that perhaps they don't have the degrees for and go to school for, if you gave them the coaching and the guidance, they will give you what you gave them, right? They will produce those that you want them to produce. They already know how to do the work. They just need the chance. So we deserve a chance and we deserve to be trusted. Trust me. Trust me.
Yes, yes. And I think it's incredible when you listen to people like Dr. Daniels. I mean, you can't get more educated than Dr. Daniels. I mean, he's got more letters next to his name than the French he articulated early. He's got about 12 letters indicating all the, just how much of a scholar and how committed and dedicated he is to excellence, not just in terms of work in the community, but also work at education academically. So if you're not going to trust someone like Dr. Daniels, not trust someone like Executive Director Woods or CEO Lewis, folks who have been proving their impact, then you're really not about investing in impact and really helping people. You're about helping people you just want to support. And that's where you start to get the frustrations because the dichotomy is clear. I would love for you to add a little bit to this, Dr. Jackson, in terms of kind of the macro level, not just about, I would love to talk about what philanthropy can do to do better, but also on the macro end, what Black men deserve as well.
Yeah, I mean, listening to y'all brothers, it made me think of two things. One, we should be able to define what Blackness is, right? Like, we deserve to be able to define our own Blackness, and we deserve to be able to define our own masculinity, and not to have to fit inside of anybody's box or feel like we need to fit into somebody's box because of our Blackness. I am tired of code switching. I am tired of worrying about your interpretation of my masculinity. And really, I'm not going to subject myself to that trauma anymore, because what I found out is it don't matter. I can do all of this stuff. I can try to talk this way. I can try to put my language in, you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, like, either you're going to fund me or not, you know what I mean? And so right. I think, and for us, it's particularly acute. You hear us talk about funding, but right, either you're going to give me the grade or not. Either you're going to give me the job or not. Either you're going to give me this opportunity or not. You know what I mean? And I think that the thing is that when we have to try to sacrifice our masculinity and like try to do it in these performative ways that society tells us that like we got to be hypersexual or we got to be this or that to kind of like perform this masculinity for you, what we do is we lose ourselves, right? And ourselves are the most important thing that we can contribute to our own liberation. And that's what, Lorenzo was talking about, this internal fighting that we're doing. We're doing this internal fighting with ourselves because we're trying to match somebody else's definition of us. And I am fucking tired of doing it. I won't do it anymore, right? So, and the thing that comes with the race piece, right, with this code switching piece is that you want us to turn off our culture so that you can understand us. But what you forget is the second that when Black people turn off our culture, then we turn off ourselves to other Black folks. And so then we lose our ability to be relevant in our own communities. And so if I want to participate in my own liberation, then I cannot be your puppet of white supremacy. It does not equate, it does not work. So what I deserve, what Black men deserve, is to be able to define our own notions of success through our own notions of Blackness and through our own notions of masculinity.